If I had known what that night would cost me, I would have walked away the moment she smiled that we met at a jazz lounge downtown, one of those cozy places with low ceilings and velvet chairs. She was standing by the bar laughing at something the bartender said, and I remember thinking, that's the kind of laugh you build a life around. Her name was Claire. She worked in non-profit logistics, had a sharp wit, and eyes that held stories you wanted to hear. I'm a civil engineer, boring on paper, but I believe in building things that last, people, bridges, futures. We started slowly, coffee, long walks, sharing playlists like high school kids, and it grew. Sunday mornings became ours. She'd cook pancakes, I'd play Miles Davis records, and we'd pretend the world outside didn't exist. 9 months in, I was in deep, not the head over heels kind, the steady, real kind. The kind where you're thinking about mortgage rates and baby names. So for her birthday, I planned something thoughtful, a rooftop dinner with her closest friends, fairy lights, the jazz trio she loved. I'd even written a letter, not a proposal, but close. I wanted to show her, I'm all in. But some people smile while holding the knife. The rooftop shimmered with warm lights, jazz notes drifted into the night air, and Claire was glowing. Friends surrounded us, laughing, clinking glasses, hugging her like she was royalty. She looked at me more than once that evening with a smile that said thank you, and I believed it. Every moment felt worth the planning. Around 9:30, someone shouted for her to come up to the stage, just a small riser where the DJ was mixing between jazz sets. Speech, speech. They chanted, drunk on champagne and city lights. Claire gave me a playful shrug and jogged toward the mic. What happened next blurred the line between surreal and cruel. Instead of a thank you, she grabbed the DJ's hand and pulled him close, far too close. The music shifted, the lights pulsed. And then she danced, not just danced, she moved like no one else was there, laughing, brushing his chest with hers, flipping her hair, biting her lip. People cheered, phones rose in the air. I stood there, frozen, surrounded by faces grinning at a joke I wasn't in on, and then she said it, into the mic, half laughing, don't be jealous, babe. It's just a dance. The crowd roared. I didn't shout. Didn't argue. Didn't make a scene. I simply stood, buttoned my jacket, and walked out into the night. I didn't go home that night, just drove. No destination, no music, only the soft hum of tires on pavement and the echo of her voice in my head. It's just a dance. Like I was the fool for feeling something crack inside me. I ended up at a roadside motel an hour outside the city, paid cash. No questions asked. Inside, I poured 2 fingers of the cheap bourbon from the vending machine and stared at the wall until the bottle was empty and the room tilted. My phone buzzed non-stop. I turned it off. Morning came with a hangover that reached into my bones. I powered the phone back on just long enough to see 37 missed calls, 18 texts. The first message read, "You overreacted." The next, it was just for fun. Then, "You embarrassed me by leaving like that." Not one, "I'm sorry." I stared at the screen, typed slowly, "We're done." Sent it, turned the phone off again, and left it on the nightstand like a relic from a different life. What followed was silence, not from her, but from me. I went to work, hit the gym hard, ate alone, lived offline. I didn't want to be found. Didn't want to be understood. I just wanted the world to stop echoing with her laugh. It was 2 weeks before I heard her name again, through someone else. Jason, a friend of mine who also knew Claire from work events, sent me a message late one night. "Man, I wasn't sure if I should show you this, but you need to see it." Attached were screenshots. A private group chat. A video taken before the party, Claire, laughing with her friends, sipping wine in a salon chair. I swear, she'd typed, "He's going to sit there like a sad puppy when I dance with Logan. It'll be hilarious." Another message, "He thinks he's planning this magical night, poor guy." Then the video, Claire, on a FaceTime call with Logan, the DJ, her voice flirtatious, deliberate, "We'll put on a little show. Let's see how jealous he gets." Logan smirked, "Can't wait to see his face." I watched it twice, not for clarity, but because I couldn't believe how calm I felt. That night on the rooftop hadn't been a moment of impulsive fun. It was rehearsed, engineered. She wanted to humiliate me, but I hadn't played my part. I hadn't shouted, begged, or fought. I'd simply walked away. And now, I understood the power in that. They'd planned a scene. I denied them the audience. She showed up at my door just after dusk. No warning, no text, just stood there, makeup smeared, mascara tracing rivers down her cheeks. "Please," she whispered, "please just let me talk." I didn't move. I didn't speak. Eventually, I stepped aside. Inside, she paced like a trapped animal. That night, it wasn't what you think. Her voice cracked, it was a mistake, a stupid moment. Logan, he means nothing. I sat arms crossed, waiting. She dropped to her knees in front of me. I was drunk, caught up in the moment. You planned it, I interrupted calmly. She froze. I've seen the messages, the videos, you laughed about it before it even happened. Her eyes widened in slow, dawning horror. You, who sent you that? Does it matter? She launched into panic. I didn't mean it. I thought if you got jealous maybe you'd fight for me. I stood up. I did fight for you, I said, every day before that night. Then her panic turned to anger. You think you're so perfect, you're boring, James, predictable, that I needed something real. You had real, I replied, and you buried it for attention. She sobbed harder, begged, screamed, accused that I waited for her to fall silent. Then I opened the door. Goodbye, Claire. She didn't move, not at first, but eventually, she stepped into the hallway, and I closed the door, softly. Finally that I stayed silent. That was the part she didn't expect. The video of Claire dancing with Logan, of her mocking me into the mic, made its way online, not because I shared it. Someone from the party did that. It spread quietly at first, whispered between colleagues, then shown in boardrooms and break rooms. Eventually, even her company's HR got wind of it. Her polished world started to crack. That I heard through mutual friends, clients cancelled meetings. A senior partner at her firm questioned her judgment in public settings. The non-profit board she once chaired asked her to take a leave, to avoid reputational distraction. She panicked, and then she lashed out, social posts with vague quotes, comments to coworkers. She painted me as controlling, obsessive, said I couldn't handle rejection. Claimed I was stalking her, still texting her, lies designed to salvage what she could from the ruin. I said nothing publicly, but my attorney did. A cease and desist letter, firm and clear, went out 2 days later. It detailed every false claim, cited witnesses, included the digital trail. Any further slander would carry consequences. Her posts vanished the next morning, and the silence, my silence, remained louder than anything she'd said. It happened 3 weeks later at a boutique launch downtown, one of those invite-only events with champagne flutes, string quartets, and influencers posing against branded backdrops. Claire was there, of course. She was part of the PR team, the face of their expansion into luxury events, and then she exploded. In the middle of the gallery space, under the soft light of designer fixtures, she started shouting at Logan. You used me, she screamed. You said you'd back me up. Phones came out, murmurs spread. Logan tried to calm her, but she was spiraling, ranting about betrayal, about the fallout, about how everyone thinks I'm a joke because of you. A manager stepped in, security followed. Claire knocked over a champagne tower as she turned to leave, glass shattering across the marble floor. Silence fell like snow. The next morning, her company posted a polite announcement thanking her for her contributions, and wishing her success in future endeavors. By noon, her socials were gone. Deleted. Erased. No trace of the life she'd curated so carefully. I watched it all unfold through the same screen she once used to laugh at me, not with satisfaction, just clarity. Some collapses don't need a push. Months passed, the noise faded. Hers, there's the whispering kind that once echoed in my head. In its place came something I hadn't felt in a long time. Stillness. I poured myself back into work, reconnected with my sister and nephews, picked up fishing again on weekends. At first, I didn't think I'd trust anyone that way again, but then came someone new, soft-spoken, kind, no games, no stage lights. We met at a volunteer build site of all places. She handed me a hammer and said, you look like someone who measures twice. It wasn't fireworks. It was peace. We talk. We laugh. Sometimes we just sit quietly, and that's enough. I don't think about Claire anymore, not with bitterness, not even with anger. She was a storm, but storms pass. And when they do, they leave behind space to rebuild. I never posted anything about what happened, never shared the screenshots, never told my side publicly, because I didn't have to. The truth has its own gravity, and sometimes the only revenge you need is walking away. Everything else, they do to themselves.